4 games, no promise beyond that. So if you're on those other platforms and you see these 4 games coming, please don't take it as some signal that everything's coming. It's not. And it does mean more of our games shipping on more platforms, not just PlayStation. We love the work that we do with Nintendo. We love what we do with Valve on Steam. And that's going to continue. We'll just continue to do more of it.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and today we got a special edition, as you can see from the opener here, in regards to Phil Spencer's latest interview and him kind of pulling the Band-Aid off, but not 100%, not completely, I guess I would say. But we have a lot to go over, a lot to talk about, a lot to dissect. So this includes its own special segment this week. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. All right, so like I was saying, and as you can tell from the beginning opening there, absolutely crazy, right? So we had the interview that just happened just the day before this recording, not even full 24 hours from the time that you're probably seeing this. What's going on is he had an interview with Paris and the other individual who, I'm so sorry, I don't know who that is. They've been in the game for a while doing all this stuff, so props to them. But they had the interview with Phil Spencer, a lot of layups, stuff like that, softball pitches. Paris came close to asking the full third-party question that we were all just kind of wanting to hear from Phil Spencer's mouth without, you know, totally divulging into it, right? The interesting part here, as you can see from all that, it's a lot of double speak here. Feel free to look for that. I'll try to provide the link in the description below of the interview if you want to see the full thing, but I'm just going to go over the main transcript of what we're talking about here in just a moment as well. So before we do it, let's take a look at this transcript as we're talking about it here. So this will summarize everything in the main piece that we're talking about today, not the, oh, I remember the old 360 days and all this stuff and how great it was, but nonetheless, here we go, right? He states, and verbatim here, we're really taking an approach of we want people to be able to play Xbox on many different screens, on many different screens. Now, not every experience will be the same. We obviously love the native experience we have on our own platform and our own hardware, and that's something we will continue for us. But like, we're not going to put up walls around where people can engage with the great games or our studios, our buildings, or where they can experience Xbox through different forms, whether it's cloud, whether it's on PC, whether it's on handheld PCs, whether it's on phones. I want everybody to be able to play on Xbox, and it does mean more of our games shipping on more platforms, not just PlayStation. We love to work the work that we do with Nintendo. We love what we do with Valve on Steam, and that's going to continue, and we'll just continue to do more of it. So So as you can see, he's still glazing over the aspect of, because let's be honest, I'll give him this, right? You can't be in Phil's position. You can't have that kind of position in Microsoft and Xbox and go like, yeah, guys, we're basically bowing out and we're sunsetting Xbox as far as hardware is concerned. We're going to do another generation. We're kind of sunsetting it. This is what to expect. He can't go off and say that. So I get it. And also I apologize for the glow. I don't know what's going on all of a sudden. But ultimately, this is certainly double speak. This is why I call him a used car salesman in a lot of ways. Because there's just more to it. And before I divulge back into this, I want you guys to take a look at this video, I believe courtesy of J-Dub, and he had this, so I'm just going to kind of post this here real quick in another interview just recently with Destin Legary, so take a look at this.
Indiana Jones has an exclusivity window, to be fair. Can you solidify that Starfield staying put for the time being?
No. Like, I'm not, there's no specific game that this kind of goes back to my red line answer. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no reason for me to put a ring fence around any game and say this game will not go to a place that it would find players, where it would have business success for us.
So as you can see, he's doubling down. There are no red lines. That is an affirmative pitch. That is the direction they're going. There are no red lines. And instead of there are no red lines, it's basically them full third-party publisher while they're dabbling with hardware. Is there going to be another generation of Xbox hardware? Yes. What does it look like? Again, more and more evidence is stacking up. More than likely going to be some sort of a hybrid console of a handheld console. And we'll see if they do just a home-based designated console with what we're used to, or if it's going to be along the lines of a Steam Deck, a Lenovo, ROG Ally, that sort of stuff, right? And see how that works, how that transpires. I think this is their last kind of, and I mentioned this before, but kind of a last shot at a Hail Mary pitch of, hey, let's see what happens here, what we can make the best of it. Because at this point, they're trying to get that money back. They stated many times, and especially Phil Spencer, stating they cannot out-console PlayStation, they cannot out-console Nintendo, and at this point, they're lacking in sales behind the Xbox One generation, which was a disastrous generation alone. Again, they had a couple years already this generation where they had no real first-party output. That did not help their stance for this generation and what their Eats Monsters for Breakfast console is. And, it just really came back to bite them in a bad way. So there's all these things that just add up time and time again, right? And I can sit here and go over a lot of scenarios. I had back and forth for the last 3 years, especially with a lot of individuals that truly believed in Game Pass and that was sustainable and there were no issues with it and not to worry, and we're just being facetious and we're trying to spread all this doom and gloom when that wasn't the case. No. We're now, those of us, and with goodwill and good intention, we're trying to warn you guys, and again, with good intention, and you thought it came from a place of ill intent, and that was not the case. We're like, look guys, this is as plain as day. How is this sustainable? If those Game Pass numbers, if they get the subs, we admitted multiple times, if they get the subs, fine. GG's, you guys got it, and it's sustainable, and you can keep doing the way things are gonna go, right? You're gonna do what they're gonna do, you're gonna game how you're gonna game, and that's fine. That should be no issue. But we knew the subs weren't moving like they wanted, and we're like, uh-oh. And that was even during some times where there were some first-party titles being offered at certain times where it should have jumped. We should see the needle be moving exponentially higher for COD, Call of Duty, being on Game Pass, and that's not the case from what I understand. So before I divulge more into that part of it that can help explain it, and again, folks, let me know down in the comments below. I don't know who to credit for this next video. I just found it. It just kind of came online in social media. No one's able to claim who this is. So if you know, definitely I'd like to give them some kudos. So kudos to them. And if you know who that is, definitely put that in the comment section down below. But go ahead and take a look at this video here.
That graph isn't clickbait. This is how much Xbox Series X and S have declined last year versus 2023 in the US. Looking at the cumulative unit difference per month. Sold less than 3 million consoles in the US for all of 2024. That is the worst result in the US for Xbox ever. Xbox Series went from selling 3.7 million in 2021 to 4.5 million in 2022 to 3.8 million in 2023 to what I estimate as just 2.7 million in 2024. What is happening? Xbox 2024 sales were actually better than what Xbox One was putting up in 2017. However, while Xbox historically would sell 1 million or more in both November and December, Xbox Series failed to sell 1 million across both months in 2024. Xbox is quickly losing ground in its strongest market. Even seeing a 48% decline in Europe last year, go check out my video about video game news you missed last week, and console buyers are overwhelmingly picking PlayStation at much higher rates than ever before. Xbox Series was at one point the fastest selling Xbox ever. It was projected by Microsoft to outdo the Xbox One and to grow the segment to help Game Pass reach 100 million subscribers by 2030. But then Activision happened. Lower hardware sales happened right after. With the Discord leak of the century, which correctly called every single shift Xbox was making before announcement in early 2024, we are still waiting on those OEM Xbox devices, which is more evidence of Microsoft looking to offload hardware as an entry point to other devices and manufacturers.
Right. And so as we come back from that video here, right, we see kind of what's happening. This is a great breakdown. This is all factual data, stuff we've been talking about for a long time. And ultimately, what we're going to do now is the big takeaway, right? What I'm talking about and what this means for Xbox. And Phil Spencer, again, with all due respect, he cannot go out and outright say what I'm going to say right now. But ultimately, roughly translated, right, if we're getting between the lines there of what's being said is, hey, look, guys, what happened is we were trailing between PlayStation and Nintendo. We needed to do something. Yes, we were buying new acquisitions, right? We had more acquisitions happening before ZeniMax and ABK even, by the way. Plenty of IPs. They thought instead of investing in those IPs, because they couldn't play catch up, is that, you know what, let's continue to see and play with this. Oh, wait, I got an idea. What if we become, quote unquote, the Netflix of gaming, right? And see what happens. I think this could work if we get enough subs. They did the math, they did the analytics, they had the projections that looked like it could work, right? So all things aside, it could work. And so as they're continuing on, okay, let's do this, let's do that. But Microsoft, Phil Spencer, especially, with, again, all due respect in a way, is he was never a good manager in regards to how the games are coming to be, how the Q&A came out, how the quality of the games came out. It was about enough R&D to bring out enough to please the shareholders, to make it good enough, right? And that's what we've seen time and time again with things like Redfall, how long it took for Hellblade 2 to come out and be created and all that. They wanted to kind of turn this AA game, or even indie game at the time with Hellblade 1, into almost like a AAA game. I don't know if they consider it AAA. I know they invested a lot of money in this, and it took an exponential amount of time, rightfully so as far as the visuals are concerned, but as far as a gameplay standpoint, as far as all that's concerned, no, it wasn't there. It was basically your pretty much linear walking simulator. Again, all due respect to the devs and everything like that, but that's essentially what it was. Beautiful looking game. I think the story is more than fine. I think all that stuff works well. But as far as that's supposed to be this boom, right? This was supposed to get the fan base hyped and all that. So anyway, that's a side tangent. However, it's just another example of kind of a little bit of mismanagement in between getting Game Pass going. And then I don't know 100% how this would work. I'm not a fly in the wall, right? But then they end up going, you know what's going to work? ZeniMax. We get Elder Scrolls, we get Fallout, we get everything under that umbrella, and this is going to generate some hype. This is under the Xbox umbrella. I know that PlayStation was trying to do some sort of a timed exclusive with Starfield that was an early production. Apparently PlayStation liked what they seen at the time, possibly. So they thought this was a good idea, right? And they go ahead and acquire ZeniMax Studios. Well, that at the time was one of the biggest acquisitions, right? Lo and behold, there's going to be another one down the line, that being ABK. So they got all this stuff going with ZeniMax, and they're like, we need a little something else. What if we shake the foundations, the very core of the gaming industry by acquiring, on a Tencent level, acquiring ABK? We're going to get the likes of, look at the revenue from Candy Crush, the microtransactions, all the mobile stuff from ABK alone. We're not even talking about World of Warcraft. We're not talking about all the assets from microtransactions under their banner from all the Diablo series. We knew Diablo 4 was coming out. We knew, all sorts of stuff was, Overwatch at the time was still doing fairly well. There was no competitive team shooter at the time. Or anything like that. So anyways, long story short, right, they go ahead and they get this too. Well, they bit off a lot more than they can chew. It takes time to get this money back, and in between, and Microsoft's not the only ones, right? There's multiple other companies out there, whether it's Sony or anybody else out there that's not game industry related, that's gone through a lot of layoffs in the last couple of years, for a multitude of reasons. So you combine all this too, but between the shareholders, between the company itself, how long is Microsoft going to continue to fund this side brand that Satya is not still at this point in time? More and more is coming out. Satya Nadella is not hugely sold on Xbox in general as far as that brand is concerned, because it's kind of oozing money here and there, right? It's not really super lucrative. Trying to go with Phil's vision. Now Satya really has stepped in these last couple of years and said, look, I'm going to help you get on track. This is what we're going to do. These are our last ditch efforts. If you want to continue Xbox as a brand, as an ecosystem, this is what we're going to do. No red lines anymore. We're not catching up. The Game Pass subs aren't happening. We had goals. Those goals were not being met for Game Pass subscriptions. Wasn't happening. So, again, a big long circle roundabout to get to the main point of this entire Thoughts from the Vault section, right? Is the fact that Phil can't come out and straight up say this. But yes, hey, we messed up. We couldn't compete the way we wanted to compete. We shifted to Game Pass. That isn't working out exactly how we planned out it to be because of whether there's some mismanagement in between or whatever they want to put that blame on, point the finger on, whatever the case is. It just didn't work out like they foreseen, like the projections were happening, like it was supposed to go. It didn't happen. And I could have, I'm not some sort of business mogul, right? But I could see, that's why I said, guys, this isn't sustainable. If those subs don't come, you're banking everything on those subs. They don't come, GG's. Third-party publisher, or they're just going to sell assets and move on from that, right? One of the two options are going to happen. Right now, it looks like more so a third-party publisher. We're going to have one more gen, all that stuff. But yeah, he's coming out saying, this is the direction we're at, guys. Easily pulling that Band-Aid back. It's not a total ripoff, and it's like, hey, guys, 100%, we messed up. This is the direction we're going. Expect to see all of our first-party games on Nintendo and PlayStation as much as possible, if not fully, hashtag whole slate, all that stuff. He's not going to come out and say that, but that's essentially what he's saying. And between just the recent videos that you're seeing, the transcript, the mini blip from the Des and Legary interview, all that stuff, it's just the facts right now. And this is all salty batch files aside, which we will get to a lot of the fallout. There's a lot of stuff there, but this is what's going on. This is huge news. He came out and said it. You got the shills and the frauds, like we go over all the time, right? They're downplaying it. Games everywhere, sunshine and rainbows. It's fine and best value in gaming, and we should do this and that. No, I don't trust that whatsoever as far as it coming from their mouths, because that's what they want to happen on that end of things, right? They're shills, right? They're grifting for it. And they're a fan of that brand. So they want that brand to succeed in any way, shape, or form at this point. And that point is trying to get everybody on board to rent their games, to get that, quote, value, when in turn I feel the value, and everybody's a little bit different in how they work with things. But I promise you, take a look and take a step back before you sub to anything. And that doesn't even mean Game Pass. That could be PS Plus Extra or Premium. That could be Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, whatever. Take a step back, whatever subscription that you're doing, really take a step back and see if it's a value for you. Are you using it enough? Does it make sense? Is it something that like, well, yeah, I'm subbing to this. I like this game. I got it on sale because of this, or whatever the case is. And you feel it's a good value because then you buy it afterwards. But the price stacks up and up and up. And I've always stated, and I haven't said this for quite a few videos now because I didn't want to be super redundant about it, but it has been quite some time, so I'm going to say it again for those of you that are new to the channel. The less you play, the more you pay. So let that sink in if this is the first time you heard that. The less you play, the more you pay. And I think you can understand what that means, right? If you're not playing enough under that subscription fee, and yes, we're using Game Pass as that example, you're losing value. If you're sitting there and you're playing a game that's, 60 to 100 hours to finish, to complete, and you're enjoying the game and you want to complete it, and life's just busy and you're spending months on end trying to finish this one game, but then you're still paying that yearly or monthly sub fee, you're losing out on money. So there goes the value out the window. Now, if you're a dude that can sit there and play all the time, every day, all day long, the value is probably there in a way. But I still feel like if you own the game, you have it forever. You can go back to it. And to me, that's the ultimate value. That's why I've never agreed with these subscriptions, as value-based as they are. And I can say the same thing for PS Plus Extra and Premium. there's some good gets, there's some good games, and you know, it's like, oh, well, that does save me a little bit to try it out or whatever the case is. Demos and game trials are coming out more and more, so you can try those for free without having to sub to see if you like a game, all that stuff. Not to mention games do go on sale still, whether you're sub to a subscription fee or not, pretty often. They do drop in price in 2 to 3 months, so if you're playing something else, you get to that new game 2 or 3 months later, odds are you're saving $15 to $20 on that game, if not more. It just depends, right? So just keep an eye out for that. So when you got these frauds and shills out there going, best value in gaming, guys, all these games, so many games. Yes, but take a step back. How many can you get to? Does it make sense? All that stuff, right? We just don't know. So that's what's going on. Just a roundabout way of giving you a lot of examples, folks, and wanted to talk about this latest interview, or interviews rather, and all the information out there. So yes, we have more confirmation that there is no red line. They are basically a third-party publisher going forward. More than likely there are not console wars, even with another generation of Xbox being out there. Nintendo does their own thing, and then PlayStation's going to be in their own lane as well, and so will Xbox, right? They're going to have their Game Pass, they're going to be their publisher of sorts. They're all going to be doing their own thing. The console wars are basically going to be over, especially after this gen. It's done. So it's going to be all about the games, where you want to play them, stuff like that. But I appreciate you stopping around with this video. Hopefully you learned something from this. If you didn't know, you now know some of the information that we shared today. So there you go. I appreciate it. Wanted to give you guys an extra video this week. You guys have been fantastic. So thank you so much. All the support in the world means the world to me. And you guys have been here, and we've been doing this channel as far as Xvault Gaming. I know this has been created years ago, but I just used to throw some Overwatch clips and some other clips on here. Was not an actual, Xvault Gaming channel until about a little over 2 years ago now. So a little over 2 years, you guys have all been on this ride, whether you're new, whether you started from the beginning. Thank you to everybody who has come along the journey. I really do appreciate that, and we'll see where this takes us, and I promise you the salt will not end, because the grifters got a grift out there, and we will pull we will pull all those examples and have some fun there. So appreciate that. We'll have you give the rest of your day back for you guys, and of course, as always, just enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you again. Every like, comment helps out so much in the algorithm. If you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing, helping out a small content creator like myself. We are so close to that 3,000 sub goal, so thank you all so much. Once again, I can't say it enough. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and we will see you next time on the next Xvault Gaming video. And until then, take care.